Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy. Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Good evening and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor. We're going to immediately toss it over to our chief meteorologist Matt Laupon, tracking the latest on a severe thunderstorm in our area. Matt, what are you seeing?
So we're watching a storm. Hail size we think has increased slightly on this thunderstorm in the last few minutes here in Franklin County, Alabama, under that warning there. In saying that, I think the main hail core we have up here is up closer to Florence. Where you see this, I guess, greater clustering of lightning strikes. So for some perspective here, just a slightly wider shot. Again, for our viewers that are there in Iuka, obviously this is a ways to your east there, about 25 miles or so, obviously, to the east. This is not moving your direction. This is kind of drifting. Maybe drifting is overstating things a little bit, but it's kind of sliding southward. I mean, notice over the last hour here, that's all the farther that it has moved, about 10 miles or so. So it's not a lot of movement. So Florence not technically in our area that we're going to be covering here. We'll talk about it briefly, but we're not also going to blow out an entire newscast based on that. The hail potential on this certainly is kind of right there where I'm circling that with my mouse on your screen. So let's get this track again southward. The speed on this is only about 10 to 12 miles per hour. I'm going to even give you a little bit more of a southwesterly sort of movement on that. So just kind of as aggressively as we can track that. And so I'm going to make this go and show a few less places, and then we're going to also make this go a little deeper into the future. We will say about, let's say 40 miles, which is probably too far. You can see how, again, and I want to double check speed. That only has 6 miles per hour on the speed. So let's go and speed that up to about 15 miles per hour. And so that shows you, again, even at 15 miles per hour, it's not moving fast there. Getting closer to Hackleburg, it says about 8 o'clock. So when these are creeping, that's how slow they're going. Russellville about 7:15, Tuscumbia about 6:23. But it is that one kind of hail core there in the middle that we are looking at. I asked Gabe to do this a minute ago, and he pulled up this camera in Smithville here. So I'm going to go ahead and show that to you. And you can see we're kind of looking back through the tower. There in Monroe County, you see the radar kind of on behind me there on the screen. Nothing showing up on that because obviously this is north and west of that. But pretty crisp looking storms, strong, but I do not anticipate that they're going to make it necessarily really into our area at all. Again, you could see how far out I had to do. I went really, really long on that track. Hey, still learning some of those things about the system. The majority of our area, though, that is not the case, as heat is largely the weather story here, Gabe, that we are looking at. And we do anticipate that obviously the heat will remain dangerous, and that's one of the things you're talking about as we look through our graphics here live at 6.
Yeah, Matt, it's just going to be a dangerously hot forecast. Not expecting anything active when it comes to our weather pattern, but I do want to say the remote is over there. Can I borrow it real quick?
Absolutely. You're telling me we need a second remote?
I mean, I wasn't, but implying a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we'll probably get one. That's a good idea.
We're making it work. We're making it work. But yeah, severe thunderstorm. We're not in a severe weather threat as we head into our overnight hours. So not really expecting that, but dangerous heat still in the forecast as we go into the next 24, 36 hours. Whenever we track those headlines here at the Mississippi Live Weather Center, our room-to-room weather center, heat remains the story for now, because as we head into the next 24 hours, that's where we top out. And from then, it's a much cooler forecast going forward. A big assister in that is rain chances. They are climbing. So that rain-cooled air on top of a cooling trend in general, that's going to go ahead and make our temperatures much more bearable, especially into next weekend. And that's our last headline, significantly cooler by the weekend. And that's one of the things a lot of us are looking forward to, including here at the Manor House, including here at Mississippi Live Weather, right, Matt?
Yeah,
for sure.
We need it.
Yeah, exactly. So out the door, like I was saying, or like Matt was talking about, Smithville, 93 feels like 108 in that storm. I mean, still very mature and still climbing when it comes to those storm heights. So the hail core, that's what we're primarily watching. Not exactly a gusty storm coming out of this, but still could have upwards of 20 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts on top of the decent sized hail core. But that's just one of those storms that just catches the right boundary, builds, and then we see it peak into that severe weather threat and then start to diminish. So hopefully we're starting to get on the downtrend of that, but we'll track that here in just a few minutes with our Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon in more detail. 97 feels like 108 there in Greenwood, and you're still seeing kind of that blanket of cloud cover, but that blue still seeping through just a bit. A lot of these are more cirrus clouds, which are those thin wispy clouds way high up in the atmosphere, not impacting the sunshine and not impacting our area with any rainfall. And those current alerts, extreme heat warnings, Thursday morning, that's when those will expire and we'll see much better conditions move in place. I do want to say those heat advisories are in place until Wednesday by 8, but National Weather Service offices are watching for the extension of that. I don't foresee an extension being necessary because temperatures are cooling off so much. So over the first 12, that's really what we're watching is just those hot temperatures. 90 by 7, still 83 around 10, but we cool off into the upper 70s, which is still well above average. Yes, rain chances are there, as you saw, but very isolated in fashion. So a good bulk of North Mississippi, not going to see an ounce of moisture into the evening. While we're watching the entire area, I mean, that surface analysis showing you that high pressure circulating in just a bit of that moisture there from that frontal boundary. So that's what we're watching is just those cyclic natures of those isolated thunderstorms there towards Tennessee and northern Alabama, just clipping us here in North Mississippi, but we don't really foresee that being a long-term threat. So into the overnight, like I said, majority of North Mississippi stays on the drier side, just expanding it into the north halves of the Twin States. I mean, you're just seeing Huntsville, completely different story than North Mississippi. Even as we head overnight, you can see where the batch of moisture remains right situated over there, Huntsville to Birmingham, basically I-65. And out here, North Mississippi, not only are we dry, we're sitting with clear conditions as well. Towards the start of our commute Tuesday morning, it's going to be a beautiful commute at that with very little cloud cover. Not really expecting any rain chances, but those rain chances really start to ramp up as we head further into our Tuesday afternoon. So that's what we're watching is how that atmospheric interaction happens and how some of that moisture builds into our area further into our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, including next weekend. You can see over the next 24, those rain chances really rising by that 3 to 6 time frame, but we could honestly bump these up with latest model projections, and we'll probably do that here in the break because we're talking 30 to 40% coverage with a few of those showers and thunderstorms. Matt will be tracking that here in just a moment, so make sure to keep it with Mississippi Live Weather in the next 60 as we look more details, not just at what's to come, but even what's happening with that severe thunderstorm in place until 6:30 this evening.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
I was made for this. Crawling through the muck to find where the real problems hide.
All this dampness, it's perfect for mold, and that can mean headaches, rashes, even chronic illness for your family.
That's why we offer our Healthy Home 7-point mold inspection to restore your health by restoring your home.
Focusing on water and mold control from the crawl space to the roof, you can call Absolute Restoration, your local and trusted restoration contractor.
1 in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping. Got a few minutes? You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lopon.
So for 99% of us, heat is the story today and will be again for tomorrow. Rain chances get better later this week, but we are watching the severe thunderstorm warning out there for Florence. Did get a report in from the folks up at Tennessee Valley Weather out of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, kind of a sister station of ours in the broadcast world here, kind of this streaming world in a lot of ways, helped us to get on our feed. Fred Gossage, who's the chief meteorologist up there, reporting about 37-mile-per-hour winds out of this so far in Florence. They have a reporting station there. That's the most this one's been able to muster. That's a good sign. Hopefully that means it stays below severe limits, but appreciate those good folks over at Tennessee Valley Weather. They have an app that might look very similar to ours. I'm not going to say we copied it, but I'm not going to say we didn't in some ways and forms there. But that, as far as Franklin County is concerned, if you're in Littleville, if you're in Russellville, or if you're in Campbell there, this has got a long ways to go before it makes it south. You'll notice over the last 30 minutes or so, we're up to about 320 lightning strikes. It's kind of at its peak now. Let's look three-dimensionally at that storm. That's kind of the easiest way to kind of assess how it is developing, or whether or not it's ever going to even get close to our area. So go 3D on this for a moment. And you can see it does extend up about 25,000 feet with some of the heaviest returns there, kind of moving more kind of in a southwesterly sort of direction. But it's got a long ways to go before it made it. Like, for example, if this were to make it all the way to Red Bay, well, first off, I don't think it will. But if this were to make it all the way to Red Bay, I mean, you've got a long distance here before that's going to happen. And considering it's only moving about 10 miles per hour or so, 36 miles would be about 3-ish hours. But outside of that, thankfully, there's nothing else of significant concern out there to kind of bring it back to the normal version of Mississippi Live Weather radar here. Nothing but those clear air returns, as any showers that we had earlier on have largely fallen apart, which is the reason why heat is the story. We have those heat advisories all across the region. You can see that's kind of bringing out one of those from back up into Arkansas. But for most of us, it's this extreme heat warning. This is the highest level heat alert that the National Weather Service puts out. And heat is the #1 killer. And I could stomp and moan about that all we want. We've talked about that. We'll continue to talk about that as this remains in effect, as you can see through the early morning hours there of early Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Thursday for all of our locations on the Mississippi side, with the exception of Noxubee, Winston, and Attala counties. For folks in West Alabama, obviously we're close to that threshold. Either way, dangerous heat remains a big part of the weather story going forward over the course of the next couple of days, unfortunately. So we appreciate all the intelligent decisions you make over the next few days as far as exerting yourself. We'll look at that wet bulb globe temperature, which it's a tongue twister for me, but important for you in a couple of minutes. Yeah, that's right. It's Monday. I'm going to jump right to this weekend, because look at these temperatures. 88 the high Saturday, 86 for Sunday. That's a huge difference. A cold front moving in the area brings that difference to us. So if we can hold on a little bit longer, it's going to get a lot better by the weekend. Yeah, there's going to be some rain chances. And I'll tell you personally, I plan on taking the family over there to the Fayette Aquatic Center in Fayette, Alabama. Not looking forward to those rain chances this weekend, but certainly something that we'll be monitoring. And you know what? That establishment closes after this weekend, so we're going to try it one way or another. Out in Batesville, though, it is the sunshine, it is the heat. 95 feels like 106. That's pretty rough out there at this time. All those clouds flat, the influences of high pressure and the sinking air associated with that, largely the storyline there. Adenton, we're 95 degrees, and again, it feels like 104. Those feels like heat indices when those are 105 or greater. Heat advisories are issued when they're in excess of 110. That's when we get those extreme heat warnings. And for me, you have to give me another couple days to get adjusted to that description, because in the past we would have called that an excessive heat warning. They've changed it to extreme heat warning. The thresholds were all the same. The impacts are the same. It's just a naming difference. So I apologize if I say something different what the graphics end up showing on there. I'm reteaching myself. Just like Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, takes a while to get it through this thick brain. Hey, we're 108 right now. The feels like temperature in Fulton, easily one of the highest that we're showing you there. And our hour-by-hour forecast shows that for tomorrow, actual temperatures will be 95 degrees at noontime. We expect the heat index could be in excess of 90 as early as maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be blistering heat. That's why those extreme heat warnings are in effect. A slightly greater chance for a few thunderstorms popping up tomorrow. Hopefully that would knock that 98 back just a little bit. We'll take any improvement we can get there. Here's Futurecast. And again, showing a few of those thunderstorms north and east. Yeah, you might remember last night, it did a pretty stellar job of showing these thunderstorms that have kind of popped up out there toward Florence, trying to move toward Russellville. This version of Storm Tracker behind on the positioning. It's capturing kind of what we have out there now. And a lot of times with this kind of short-term time period, it doesn't do the greatest turnaround on developing those initial thunderstorms. So it does show we'll continue to have a few more out there, but it also, almost the magic line here, the Mississippi-Alabama state line. Nothing magical about it unless you're talking about college football championships, but that's a sore subject for some folks out there, and I get that. I'm Kansas, we've got none. Anyway, the magic on this, keeping those shower chances mainly out into Alabama overnight. The Mississippi State fan over there didn't think that was very funny. Oh well, sorry.
Well, I know that you relate to me.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the same painful train on that one there with Kansas. Tomorrow morning, as you can see, overnight, once we get past the next few hours, not a ton of activity. As you can see tomorrow morning, when we're starting at 77 in Tupelo and Columbus, or 78 in Belzoni, 78 in Cleveland, I mean, everybody, it's a very sticky beginning to the day. It never feels particularly cool, and that's why, again, the heat danger remains so elevated. As we progress throughout your Tuesday, as you can see here, 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning, not a lot of activity. It'll go a lot wider to show you kind of the bigger picture here for a moment. I do that to show you this high pressure. As that is retreating eastward, it's allowing little waves to come on the north and west side of it. And so what we essentially have going on here is the jet stream is kind of up here, and it's doing this number. Oops, I grabbed my banner. Let's move it up north. There we are. It's really kind of more up here, right? And so there end up being these little waves that end up kind of going right along the jet stream and kind of stick fairly close to that. When that happens from time to time, you get these disturbances, kind of like the isolated storms we have out there today. And that, even though high pressure is largely the story, will help us to produce a few isolated thunderstorms again for tomorrow. Now, 10:30, 11 o'clock,
Canceled.
They canceled the warning? Good. Okay. I'm glad. I appreciate it. I'm going to have to see. We're going to learn
But this is like extreme and canceled.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, good. As long as we don't start, doing this. Anyway, I didn't do baseball once when we did full-on signals like that. So canceled. I did kind of think it's extreme. I'm like, whoa, hold on. I need to know if something bad's happened.
Well, this actually goes with every forecast because it's extreme heat and it's canceled warning. So.
Nothing confusing about that. Anyway, our meteorologist Gabe Maynard there. Awesome. So I mean, not a lot through noontime tomorrow. We could use some more rainfall. And I'll tell you this, Futurecast is a lot drier than it looked yesterday at this time. So I'm hoping we're not talking about mirage rain chances this week. But we do show a few out there Tuesday in the afternoon, still fairly spotty in nature and kind of rotating on the northeast side of that high pressure that we were talking about. There's a few out there. So here's hoping they mean some moisture for maybe me or you. We're high temperature-wise up to 98 in Tupelo, 97 degrees in Houston, Starkville, and Columbus. Get normal high this time of year around 92, so everybody's way in excess of that. And this is the story, the heat index. 115, again, just plucking 3 p.m. out of the air there. There will be points in the day where your heat index will probably be hotter than this, but everybody is pretty close to 110 or higher. Well, yes, we show Kosciuszko 105, 106, Louisville 107, Macon. That's part of the reason you're not under that extreme heat warning is because, again, that's 110 plus, and that's, again, most of the northern and western portion of the area. So our strike model here continues to show some spotty thunderstorms as we go into your Tuesday evening, but most of those diminishing. Here's hoping that maybe it's underdoing it. Still not an impossibility there. As we go into Wednesday morning, again, just spotty showers out there, a greater quantity. Again, another one of these weak waves moving in on the northeast side of this low. Go wide again for a moment here to show you a couple of the important players because we do have this front back to the north and west, and this will bring us much cooler temperatures by later in the week. But again, there's just this area weakness on the northeast side here, and this little wave that kind of rotates in. So you can see, I'm going to go in closer to show you the spots in a second, but I was just kind of this kind of northeasterly sort of wave. It's kind of like that shear axis we had a couple weeks back that was always the focal point for rain chances. This could once again be as well. As you can see, showing quite a few of those noontime. I think it might be overdone just a little bit. This projection tends to do that. But what it's done here is it's developed some storms out east, and then it kind of kicks out a boundary and it just uses that combination of heat and moisture, the extreme stickiness factor that we have. that is absolutely something that's going to continue to be a major issue. And so it also fuels thunderstorms. So as they kind of move from the east to the west through the area, that's why they're closer to Winona, Kosciuszko, Louisville there as we go into the afternoon and early evening time period on your Wednesday. So if you do get those initial storms develop like that, you'll get probably the quantity that we're looking at there. High temperatures, 96 Tupelo and Houston, about 97 degrees. Grenada will be 98 in Greenwood and 100 degrees in Greenville. It is going to be obviously really hot out there for your high temperatures on your Wednesday, and those heat indices expected to be in excess of 110 for many locations once again. Now, I got to be honest here. It looks like I might have forgotten to put in my my wet bulb globe temperature in here, so we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. Give me a second here to type this in as I kind of bring that in. We'll, again, as you can see, that that severe thunderstorm warning has been gone ahead and they've canceled that there for at least the Franklin County portion of that. But as I pull up that wet bulb globe temperature for tomorrow, that dangerous heat that we're talking about, you can see at 3 p.m. tomorrow, expecting that to include many, if not most locations under that kind of most extreme level of that. The point in bringing that up is that means that obviously it's dangerous to be out there at 3 p.m. This is available on our website, msliveweather.com. You have to go, there's a temperature tab under the map room. I know I just gave you like 3 steps there, but you click on map room in the app. I'll show you. Give me a second here to pull it up for a second. So open up the app and you got the stream at the top there. You scroll down a little bit. There's a place that says map room right there, right? You tap map room and it'll pop up the website. And the top one there says temperatures. We have it kind of loaded at the top right now. That has temperature, current heat index, but it also has that wet bulb globe temperature. Now you can see not as bad as it was a little earlier on, and then getting much better over the course of the next couple days. So that's one of the things I don't want to jump past, is that value is going to get a lot better as we go into the latter part of this week. You could see even by Wednesday, obviously still pretty high on that threshold. I'm sorry I'm having to do this kind of the gross way. It's going to go back and forth to radar. But as we show by Thursday at 3 p.m., yes, we still have some significant values of that, but it's not quite as extreme. So an improvement there that we are seeing as we progress toward and through the latter part of this week. So again, no storms outside those up toward the Florence area, and for Franklin County, that alert has been canceled. Heat index, the story, not just for obviously this evening, but as we look at that 7-day forecast next couple of days, heat indices on your Wednesday going to be up there again, 105 to 110. That's why we have those extreme heat warnings for many locations. By Thursday, though, a greater quantity of rainfall, 50% or so coverage on that. Now, they remain spotty. I think that's one thing that probably limits the overall amount of rainfall we end up picking up from this system. But as we look toward your Friday and Saturday, a front moving into the area, that one we were looking back to the north and west, drops those temperatures a little bit more. That's why we're upper 80s by Saturday, mid 80s by Sunday. And for this transitioning into a new month, August, and we're a little cooler, a fortuitous turn of events. We'll say it that way. Of course, that latest forecast always available at msliveweather.com. Gabe, what do you got coming up after the break here?
It'll be just atmospheric analysis over the next couple of days, and how our setup will be moving into the cold front.
We getting rain quantity, perhaps?
We can, yeah, I can add it in.
Okay, perfect. We'll see that here in about 60 seconds as Mississippi Live Weather at 6 continues.
At Room to Room, did you know our specialty is custom ordered upholstery? Get the furniture you want and the fabric and color selection you want. With our free design service, we won't let you make a mistake.
When people are fed, futures are nourished. They can connect with the world around them, unlock endless possibilities, and thrive. Join the movement to end hunger. Volunteer. Advocate. Donate. Go to feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
So this is breaking down a little bit more in detail of what Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupon was walking us through. Basically, you have this upper level jet that's moving across the northern half of the United States, but dipping just a bit and right over the top of the southeast where we're going to get some increased rain chances. So you see on your screen, showers and storms near the system track north of the high pressure center. High pressure center that we're referring to is down in the Gulf, and this one having it a little bit more north there towards Louisiana and Arkansas. Now this is for your Monday evening, so watching that high pressure trend more west-northwest, that'll be a big factor in how much rain chances we'll see. So let's go ahead and walk into Tuesday. And as you can see, it will start to dip a little bit more. That high pressure has this clockwise motion to it, and you can see it on our winds just a bit. That's pulling in that moisture from that jet stream, and those little waves that he was referring to is going to reach down here into the south, and that's where we're going to get our rain chances. So that flow on the eastern edge of the high pressure aids in showers, and yes, some thunderstorms included in that. Not expecting severe weather, but definitely watching some higher rainfall outputs of whenever you get those slow moving storms and it's a heavy downpour, can get up to 1 to 2 inches just like that. So we're definitely paying attention to that in more detail. But what we're also paying attention to are temperatures. And right now you can see that we are basically in this heat dome. There's your high pressure center, and we're also looking way high up in the air. So that's kind of how we're seeing where that high pressure is centered, and it's right over North Mississippi, northern Alabama. Over the next couple of days, you can see how this is basically centered still over the top of North Mississippi. That high pressure shifts just a bit more to the west, and that'll drive out that high pressure, drive out that heat that's usually, out there towards Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. So it's going to drive it back towards that there, and then we're going to get some of that moisture dip down to add to what should already be a much more comfortable forecast. So Tuesday, to where we'll peak in temperatures, but beyond that point, we'll see a much better forecast moving forward. So looking at that forecasted rainfall, as we were talking about, showing you, we're going to see trace amounts of rainfall for a lot of locations, but further south and east that you go, up to a tenth, up to a quarter, I don't really want you to pay attention to the amounts, because this will vary across North Mississippi, but the fact that some areas are showing quarter to half inch means that with those brief downpours, we could get up to about an inch total in some spots. So we are paying attention to that for our Tuesday, but also for our Wednesday. And this is where we start to get a little bit increased coverage. As you can see, the entire north half of the state getting some form of another of rainfall, whether it be 100th or all the way up to a quarter. So we're paying attention to where those showers and storms form, and of course we'll be walking you through every step of the way throughout the next couple of days on the positioning of that rainfall. But beyond that, we said it's a saturated week ahead, and it'll be exactly that. For the next 5 days, we're expecting a quarter or more across the entire north half of the state, with some areas getting all the way up to 2-3 inches because of how much rainfall we'll see. So that's definitely going to be a big factor in our drought monitor, because right now we have that level 1 drought there towards Grenada and Yalobusha County. But for other parts, it gives us some much needed rainfall. Some of those water levels are starting to dip. Some of our crops, some of our plants, Manor household is included in that, are starting to die. So we appreciate all the rainfall we can get.
Blame the rainfall.
Listen, okay, one day of forgetting to water, and the atmosphere did not align that day. So it's all it takes. So that's why we appreciate any rain we can get. But into the overnight hours, you see that 10% chance. That's primarily going to be Franklin County, Alabama, as those storms roll on through. But even that's going to be a little bit pushed off there towards Huntsville and Birmingham. So not expecting any major impacts from that, but could get some brief heavy rainfall at times through the rest of our evening. But that'll be further out towards the east, like we were mentioning. Really staying dry for a lot of us and staying hot for the rest of us as we head into the overnight hours. So we are tracking that in more detail coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10, giving the latest outputs on those model runs and giving the latest outlook on those temperatures. Hopefully look at least a little bit better. But we'll update you on that coming up tonight at 10. You guys have a great evening, and we'll see you then. Oh, and how did I forget? The Mississippi Live Weather app.
And I might look at radar one more time after you get past this. But go ahead and talk about the app for a second if you want to.
So basically, if you want to get that interactive radar that tells you where those storms are, just go scan the QR code on your screen and it'll take you right there. Or do you want to know about wet bulb globe temperatures like Matt was showing us earlier? Well, this is a great way to access that as well. You can do this step-by-step analysis that he showed you and go get that data. If you are a coach, if you're a band director, if you're anyone that needs it. But what it also provides you is a 7-day forecast, hourly forecast, 24/7 stream, everything you need right at the palm of your hands. So, Matt, are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting one more look here at the radar on Mississippi Live Weather radar out here toward Florence. Again, Franklin County canceled out of this. You can see how they trimmed the southern part of this warning. I think they might actually let the warning go here at 6:30 as well, if it does not go any further. Decent amount of lightning out of that, but shows you just how little movement we have with this overall pattern. Of course, we'll have updates on everything related to this, including where some of those rain chances could be over the course of the next couple of days, coming up at 10 o'clock on Mississippi Live Weather. Thank you for joining us here. And of course, like and subscribe on the different platforms. It makes a big difference on us being able to sustainably do this going forward. And a reminder, if you have Roku, that we do have a live stream on there, and you can kind of go back and forth using kind of the left and right arrows on your kind of remote there. And doing that, you can look at some of the area cameras. I think at some point, hopefully, we'll be able to get some other kind of feeds on there that maybe are things you find interesting. So a lot of cool things coming. And yes, we are still waiting on Apple TV and Fire Stick. Hopefully those will get done soon. They have taken way longer than anticipated, but I think we're getting closer to that. If you're on either of those platforms, you can actually look up YouTube and find our live streams on YouTube through those as well. So that's a way to look at it on the bigger screen TV if maybe that smaller device isn't quite your speed. So thank you for joining us here. We'll see you back at 10.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.